Okay, here's our review. Back at Niabet. On August 28, 1776, after their retreat from Long Island, where were General Washington and his Continental Army cornered? Where were they cornered? Hello.
Call me when you get a chance.
Okay. Where were they cornered?
Brooklyn Heights.
What?
Brooklyn Heights.
Is that right? Yes, it is. Brooklyn Heights. Very good. Okay, Mr. Rand. Who did General Washington turn to for assistance in getting his soldiers, horses, and supplies across the East River during their retreat to Manhattan Island?
John Glover.
Very good, John Glover. Okay, Chantel, give me one of the two things that General Washington ordered his men to do that would deceive the British to think they were still camped during their retreat across the East River. What's one of the things he had to do?
Rolling barrels back and forth.
Okay, rolling empty barrels back and forth. Okay, what else did he do then, Courtney? What do you have his men do? Besides roll barrels back and forth to make it sound like they were digging trenches and to muffle the sound of movement.
I just have not to speak a word and the barrel thing.
Okay, there's one more though. Brooke?
To keep the fires going.
Tend to campfires. Yeah, tend to campfires. So the question on the test tomorrow will be, what two things did General Washington order his men to do that would deceive the British to think they were still camped during the retreat across the East River? Okay, rolling barrels between them back and forth and tending the campfires. Okay, Will the Thrill. When General Washington withdrew his Continental Army to White Plains, New York, what two things did that leave the British in command of? I'll read it again. When General Washington withdrew his Continental Army to White Plains, New York, what two things did that leave the British in command of? Sierra, you want to help them out?
Isn't it one of
New York City. And its splendid harbor. So New York City and New York City's harbor. Okay, New York City and New York City's harbor.
Wait,
Okay, the question is, when General Washington withdrew his Continental Army to White Plains, New York, what did that leave the British in command of? New York City and the New York City harbor. Okay? Okay, Nick, give me an example of how Mother Nature assisted General Washington during his retreat across the East River to White Plains.
Strong southern winds didn't allow the British fleet to sail more than the East River.
That's perfect. Okay, a southern wind kept the British fleet from sailing behind Washington's troops in the East River. Okay, Blaine, how about another break that Washington got from Mother Nature? Shh, Blake?
Wasn't it like really overcast? It was like made it really dark outside.
Very overcast, made it very dark. Okay, that happened as well. There was one more, Mason. Fog rolled in, which made it very hard to see. They couldn't see 20 feet apart. So you've got the southern wind that came in that blocked the British fleet from getting into the East River. You've got it became very overcast and dark, and also a fog rolled in which soldiers could not see each other 20 feet away. Okay? Know those examples of Mother Nature. Kyle, by the time General Washington retreated across New Jersey and entered Pennsylvania, how many soldiers remained with the Continental Army? By the time General Washington retreated across New Jersey and entered Pennsylvania, how many soldiers remained with the Continental Army?
2,400.
Very good, 2,400. Okay, I'll read it again. By the time General Washington retreated across New Jersey and entered Pennsylvania, how many soldiers remained with the Continental Army? 2,400. Okay, while I call Mr. Smith, Madison, think about this question. Who did British General Sir William Howe put in charge of keeping an eye on the American forces during December of 1776. Who did General Sir William Howe give the responsibility to keep an eye on Washington's forces? Be careful, because I might trick you. Who do you think? General Charles Cornwallis is correct. General Charles Cornwallis. Okay, Gracie, who did General Charles Cornwallis put in charge of what? Who did he put in charge? He kind of delegated down. Yeah, who did what Hessian officer was stationed at Trenton, New Jersey with a force of 1,400 men to watch the movements of the Continental Army? Actually, Cornwallis ordered him to watch them. What's that? Johann Rall. Very good. Okay, so Sir William Howe told General Charles Cornwallis, he gave him the responsibility to keep an eye on the Continental Army. And as Hannah said, Cornwallis then delegated to Hessian officer Johann Rall to keep an eye on those people with a force of 1,400 at Trenton. Okay, Bailey, what British spy provided General Washington with valuable information, allowing him the opportunity to win a decisive victory over the Hessian forces at Trenton?
Oh, I know this, I sure got something.
Okay, we'll find it.
It's, it's a cool name.
Yeah, really, quite sweet.
Yeah. It's Honeyman, something Honeyman.
John Honeyman, yeah. John Honeyman, okay? Okay, Taylor, on what day did General Washington plan his surprise attack on Trenton? Christmas Day. You don't have to put the date, just Christmas Day, okay? Okay, Keller, list one of the three-pronged movements by General Washington during his advance to Trenton across the Delaware River. There were actually three prongs. Give me one in detail.
1,500 militia downriver.
Very good. 1,500 militia crossed downriver. Okay, how about another one, Shania?
Washington took one troop and crossed the
Okay, Washington crossed right across from the camp with a group of about 2,000. I said large group, it was about 2,000. You might want to add that. And what was the third prong there, Cody? So Washington, does he cross right across from camp with 2,000? Where did he cross, Nick?
Washington.
Yeah.
You just went like directly across from the camp. You go directly to Trenton.
Okay, right across the camp, so right. So where's the third one?
Did they come from? I don't know.
Okay, okay. Wolfington, quit hiding there. What's the third prong?
They took 700 more soldiers and crossed directly.
Okay, 700 American soldiers crossed directly across from Trenton. Washington and 2,000 soldiers crossed directly across from camp, and 1,500 militia crossed downstream. Okay, that's what you need to know. Perfect. Okie dokie. Milo, explain the situation surrounding General Washington's decision he made once he and his troops crossed the Delaware River and prepared for the assault on Trenton. I'll repeat that again. Explain the situation surrounding General Washington's decision he made once he and his troops crossed the Delaware River and prepared for the assault on Trenton. He had to make a decision. What was that?
Whether you go back and not fight or take his 2,000 men and try and fight.
Okay, and why do you have to make that decision? You need to know that. Anybody remember why he had to make that decision? Go ahead. The other two prongs didn't get across the river. So your answer to that would be, because the other two prongs of the assault did not make it across the Delaware, Washington decided to advance with the 2,000 men he had rather than turn around and go back.
Isn't it like 4 hours later?
Yeah, he's 4 hours late too. Yeah. Yeah.
It was at 4
I never could figure out why they were such a surprise when they were 4 hours late, but they were. Okay, Mackenzie, my dear, what trouble did Washington run into shortly after he and his troops crossed the river?
A loyalist spy saw them cross and, yeah,
And-
when they told.
And was, okay. Okay, here's this question. What trouble did Washington run into shortly after he and his troops crossed the Delaware River? He was spotted by a loyalist spy who then was going to return and report to Hessian Colonel Rahl. The next question is, what was the end result of this trouble Washington faced? That the loyalist spy wrote a note and gave it to Rahl, in which Rahl put it in his pocket and didn't read it. Okay, so let's try to get this right. What trouble did Washington run into shortly after he and his troops crossed the Delaware River? Let's leave it at this. He was spotted by a Tory spy, loyalist spy. And what was the end result of this trouble Washington faced? The end result was that the spy gave Colonel Rahl a note which he did not read and simply stuck into his pocket. Okay? Hey Hannah, during the Battle of Bound Brook, which town in Connecticut was under siege? Danbury. Very good. Danbury. Very good. Carly, my dear, who was the heroine who saved the day during the Battle of Bound Brook because of her historical ride in New York? Who was the heroine who saved the day during the Battle of Bound Brook because of her historical ride in New York?
Sybil.
Sybil. You're going to need both. Luddington. Sybil Luddington. You'll need both names.
Sybil.
Okay, let's see. Who seems like they got their stuff together? Talon. I want you to tell me the difference between a military musket and a military musket rifle during the Revolutionary War. Okay, listen up. This is important.
The musket has a smooth barrel on the inside and the bullet comes down to the ground, and then the rifle has a...
Okay, don't finish that though. You're exactly right. Smooth barrel. The bullet travels and bounces around down the barrel, which makes it not very accurate. Okay.
And then the rifle has a groove on the inside which makes the bullet straighter.
And why does it make it straighter? Because what's the bullet do inside the barrel? Spins evenly. Okay, so the difference between a military musket and a military musket rifle is the military musket has a smooth barrel in which the ball or projectile or bullet bounces around, which makes it very inaccurate as it comes out the barrel, whereas a military musket rifle has grooved edges inside the barrel, which makes the bullet turn and makes it more accurate as it comes out the barrel. Okay? And we're not going to go into this detail, but remember when they were shooting the military muskets in battle, they were just shooting at a group. They weren't aiming at anything particular. They knew they were going to hit something because everybody was bunched together. Who used these musket rifles? Snipers, widowmakers, okay, snipers. All right, very good. Okay, Brooke. Who was the Patriots' most famous sniper in the Revolutionary War? Timothy Murphy. Will, who was his target?
His target was their general.
I'd like a name. Who was the Patriots' most famous sniper in the Revolutionary War? Timothy Murphy. Who was his target?
Actually, they wrote his name down.
You didn't, you must have. You wouldn't have not wrote his name down. Well, I know you. Where's the Battle of Saratoga?
Fraser.
There we go. Simon Fraser. And what was the end result? Talon.
Murphy shot Fraser and Randy Johnson.
And he died or killed him. So what was the Patriots' most famous sniper in the Revolutionary War? Timothy Murphy. Who was his target? General Simon Fraser. And the end result was Murphy killed him with a single shot at 300 yards. Okay? All right, here we go. Chantel, who was the British Army's most famous sniper in the Revolutionary War?
Patrick Ferguson.
Patrick Ferguson. Who was his target? Anna?
George Washington.
And what was the end result of that, Gracie?
He didn't want to shoot him back,
Okay, so
so we needed to capture him.
okay, so what would be the old really famous quote at the end? No. I mean, what?
Something by the shot.
Okay,
Is
very good.
defined
So
by
let's look at this. Who was the British Army's most famous sniper in the Revolutionary War? Patrick Ferguson. Who was his target? George Washington. What was the end result? He was known in history for the shot he did not take. Okay. Madison, as a result of the Battle of Saratoga, what did the American patriots receive of great assistance for their war effort?
They got support from France.
Very good, they got support from France. Okay, now, Kylie, who was the greatest gift to America from this assistance? From the French. We haven't really talked about him too much yet.
A young officer named Marcus.
Marcus D. Lafayette. And we'll talk more about him when we get to Revolution Part 3, or Part 2. But
We have to know how to say his name.
Lafayette, you should be able to know.
Last name or
You can usually go last names,
Last name, I will.
as long as there isn't two of the same, but I want Sybil Luddington because you just can't put a first name, okay? All right, Kyle, at Valley Forge, how many American soldiers were trying to survive the brutal winter of 1777, 1778?
11,000.
11,000, very good.
11,000.
At Valley Forge, how many American soldiers were trying to survive the brutal winter of 1778, 1777, 1778? 11,000. Okay, Nia Beth, who led the Indian Rescue Party that saved General Washington's starving troops?
On years.
Han Yeri. And Soraya, what did he bring that saved Washington's troops?
600 bushels of white corn.
Very good. Milo, who was the man responsible for instilling good discipline into Washington's Continental Army? He whipped him into a well-oiled professional fighting force by the time he got done.
Baron Van Steuben.
Baron von Steuben. And Blake, which would be Blaine's brother. Blaine. God, I do that. I did that with my own sons. I hated it. So I'm going to cut you a break here and go to Mason. After the harsh winter of Valley Forge and the training of the Continental Army, where geographically does the revolution enter its final phase? South. Okay, does anybody have any questions at all on the test review? Okay, it's all short answer. There are There are 35 answers. They'll be worth 3 apiece. What's 35 times 3?
105.
Huh?
105.
105.
Like it.